Learning about the kidney may seem to be as difficult as a giraffe walking on a tightrope, but in this video, I'm going to make that so much easier and hopefully you get it a bit better. So specifically in this video, we'll talk only about the structure. After we can understand the structure, the function will be a breeze. So focus on this, although maybe you don't learn much from this, it will make this function so much easier. So first of all, kidney, where is it? So let's look at Elon Musk here, okay? He's pretty famous, so he should be pretty interesting to look at. So let's look at the inside of Elon Musk, okay? I ignored all the other organs, all of it, except the kidney and the urinary system, okay? So the kidney, the bladder, okay? So that's so that you're not confused about all the other organs. So where is it? So this picture is not too accurate, okay? But the kidney is it's in your abdomen, so around this zone, in the back of your abdomen. So it's really, if you touch your back right now, the organ that is most near to your fingers is the kidney. They're at the back of your abdomen, okay? And they're pretty small. So this picture makes them look a bit big. I'd say they're about half this size relative to this person. Now, what is the kidney, first of all? What's a good analogy of what a kidney is? A kidney is essentially a filter. What do I mean by this? So let's take a real filter here, and we pass a bunch of things through it, okay? We know that this filter will sort these objects based on their size. So the big objects will not be able to pass through, and the small objects will, okay? So essentially, kidney behaves like a filter in your body, only it doesn't sort things, it doesn't 100% sort things by size, it rather sorts things by good and bad. So for example, let's say this is your kidney, and we have a bunch of good and bad things. The good things will be the green things, and the bad things will be the red things. So your kidney will essentially filter out the bad things. So let's say everything goes into this filter, what will come out, what will exit your body, is going to be the bad things, these red things, okay? Your kidney is going to make sure to keep the green things, these good things. It won't allow these good things to pass out of your kidney, okay? But exactly what I mean, so it's going to keep these green good things in your body, and the red things it will filter out of your body. That's the basic concept. Only it's not as specific, it's not as simple as this filter, because an ordinary filter only sorts things by size. But your kidney can organize by good and bad. So it's a bit more complicated, but that's the basic concept. It's just a filter, okay? So going back to this picture, well, we can go down here. Let's go down here, it's a bit bigger. So I'm zooming in now into this zone, okay? I have a big picture here, okay? We're zooming into it so you can see more clearly. So maybe you understand now that this is a kidney and this is another kidney. And by the way, in your body, you have two kidneys, as we can see, and you can actually live without one. So if you have a bad kidney, that doesn't matter too much because your one kidney will just increase in size and compensate for that. And that's why you can donate your kidney as well to people who really need it and actually have no good kidneys. Now, anyways, so here's the basic process. Here we have an artery. So an artery is a vessel inside your body. It holds blood, okay? Why does blood matter? Blood has all the nutrients in that the cells of your body need, because at the end of the day, you are made up of billions of cells. If your cells cannot get nutrients, you will die, okay? So the point is, the artery has nutrients and it carries blood all over your body. But sometimes, what's in the blood is not needed, okay? It's not needed. So what happens is, let's follow this. So by the way, this artery comes from the heart. So if the heart pumps blood, comes through this artery, and what happens is, like I just said, not everything is needed. So this blood will pass through the kidney, and the things that are not needed will be eliminated, and the things that are needed will be kept in the blood. As such, let me show you. Wait a second. So here we go. So here we have, okay, I'll make that a different color, otherwise it's gonna not be able to see it. So let's say here passes your blood that is not filtered yet. So right now it has good and bad things in it. So it's coming from your heart. Remember, your heart pumps the blood to the rest of your body. Now here comes the blood. And you notice there's a small artery here connecting from the big artery, right? So it branches off. So the blood will now enter into this one, okay, some of it. Now, the blood that enters into here will pass into the kidney. Okay, the kidney is going to do its magic. It's going to remove all the bad things. Now, it's going to put all the bad things into this thing, into this little beige kind of color, okay? This thing. This is called your ureter. And this ureter will go to your bladder. And then after it goes to your bladder, you'll pee it out. So it's going to get exited from your body. Now, where does the good things go? So I just mentioned, the fresh blood comes. This blood is not filtered yet, so it has bad and good in it. It passes into the kidney, both sides, so right and the left side through the red artery. Now, the bad stuff is put into this pipe here called the ureter, and then the good stuff is put into this blue pipe here called a vein, okay? A vein. So now this vein contains filtered blood. So this blood should not have toxic things in it, things that are bad, okay? And now this vessel, after it goes into this blue vessel, the vein, it will pass up back to your heart, and now it will be fresh, get oxygen and all that kind of thing, and your lungs. But the point is, the fresh blood pumped from your heart will pass through your kidney, get filtered, bad stuff goes into this pipe, good stuff goes into the vein, okay? And this good stuff can now go to your cells and all that sort of stuff. So that's the basic concept, okay? Bad stuff removed by the urine, good stuff kept in the vein, okay? So this is the overall idea. So we're going to get into slightly more detail each picture now, okay? So that, oh yeah, by the way, I don't know if you need to know this, but the big artery in the middle of your body, so it's actually really big, is called the aorta. If you stab this artery, you're pretty much going to die, okay? So this is the artery that comes straight out of the heart. And then this small one here, this red one that branches off from the big artery, is called the renal artery. Renal is a synonym for kidney, okay? Renal means kidney. So this is the renal artery because it's going to the kidney. And similarly, this blue vein is called the renal vein, okay? Because it's coming from the kidney, also known as the renal, okay? Okay. Let's get next page now. So now what we're going to do is, just here we looked at the big picture. Now we're going to look at one of these kidneys and see exactly how it does this magic, how it turns this unfiltered blood and removes all the bad things and keeps the good things, okay? We're not going to see the mechanism, but we're going to see the structure, because in the next video we'll see exactly how it happens. Now we're just looking at the structures. So here we cut it open, so we're still looking at this one. And now you can see this renal vein and artery. So here's the renal vein, and this is the renal artery. So the renal artery brings the unfiltered blood in here, and the renal vein brings the filtered, clean blood out. Okay, and the bad stuff goes into this ureter. Okay, now let's follow this picture. So here we have it again. So I'm gonna make it clear. Renal artery coming in. Renal vein going out. I just want to make sure the colors are matching here. Yeah, renal vein coming out. Ureter going down. Okay. Now let's follow the process a little bit. So here comes the fresh, the unfiltered blood through the renal artery. It passes in here, and you notice this vessel branches, meaning it becomes smaller and smaller. So now it branches into 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then millions. Okay, it gets very, very small and small. So if we follow one, so let's follow one. We follow this one, it branches into here, it branches again, and it comes around here until it's super tiny. Do you see? Okay? Then we see 2 super tiny arteries. Okay, so you need to bear this concept in mind. So the filtered blood goes everywhere into the kidney, into a super tiny artery. Okay? While it's an artery, it still isn't filtered. So as long as it's red, it means the blood is still unfiltered. As soon as you see a blue one, it means that blood is filtered and all the bad stuff is removed from it. Okay, so as soon as you see a small blue one, they will then join up and form a bigger vein, and then an even bigger vein, and then even bigger vein, until all the filtered blood joins into this really big renal vein, which will go into this really big vessel here called the vena cava. Okay, vena cava. I'm not sure, I don't think you have to know that, so you just need to know vein. So what structure do we need to know for the IB? So here, like we said before, this is the ureter. It goes to your bladder. Now, cortex. So I'm going to have this arrow here. Cortex is basically this part. It's this whole part that is like pretty light in color. So this, I'll just go with my mouse here. It's this part. Pretty much the most outer part, the cortex. Okay? Not much happens here, so I'm not going to say anything there for now. Now we have medulla. Medulla, let's copy the arrow. Medulla is where the interesting stuff happens. So I'm going to talk about that in the next video. This is the medulla. It's all of these little like pyramid-shaped things. These things. Triangle-shaped things. This is the medulla. Okay? So basically, what I can say about the medulla is this is where the filtering happens, in here somewhere. Okay? All in here. And all the bad stuff will pass from the medulla into this space here, and then follow this space into this ureter. Do you see what I mean? And then the good stuff will stay in the blue vessels called the veins, and they will go out, as I just mentioned before. Okay, so that's vaguely what happens in the medulla for now. But I'm not giving any function just because it's not about that for now. Okay, renal pelvis. Renal pelvis is essentially the upper part of the ureter. So let me mention here, it's about here. The renal pelvis is like where the ureter comes from. So this is all like this here is renal pelvis, and eventually this here might be renal pelvis, and then this, it becomes ureter. So where the stuff comes from to enter the ureter, that's the pelvis. Okay, that's the renal pelvis. So this is all the structures that about the kidney that we can see in real life. So if you cut a kidney open in real life, you'll see this stuff. Okay, so this is not just drawn for the sake of clarity. This is what you really see. Okay. Let's go one last final level. So here we have the kidney again. I removed the names just because it's going to be too crowded. Now, what is the actual filter? So I mentioned that once it passes through this area here, it gets filtered. So what exactly is the filter of our kidney? Because we still haven't gotten to that. So the filter of our kidney is called a nephron. This is the name of the kidney, of the filter in our kidney, okay? The nephron. Nephron. We have 1 million of these in our kidneys. So right here I put 1. So it's obviously way bigger than it really is, just for the sake of that it's easier to understand. But we have 1 million of these, so they're located around here. Like some of them are, so they're partially located. They are partially located within the medulla and partially located within the cortex. Okay, kind of like this. I try to show it. Some of this nephron is located in the cortex, and some of it is in the medulla. That's how it is for almost all of our nephrons in our kidney. Okay, so this is our filtering unit. This is the functional unit. The nephron is the filter of our body. Okay, this tiny thing, all of these million combined, will help filter the blood that comes through our arteries, remove all the bad stuff and put it in our ureter, and keep all the good stuff in our vein. Okay, this little thing here. So what structures do we need to know about this little thing here called the nephron? So we're going to zoom in even more into this little nephron. Let me show you. So we know this artery, right? It comes in through here and it goes and branches very, very tiny with all the unfiltered blood. And it goes here until it's so small. This small vessel, this very, very tiny artery is going to go into this nephron. Do you see this little red part there? That is the tiny artery entering the nephron. So here we are. This is the little tiny artery coming with unfiltered blood, and it goes into this thing here. This is the artery, and it enters this nephron. This whole thing is the nephron. Okay, so this nephron, this whole thing, will now filter. I'm not going to explain how for now, but it's going to filter all of this blood that is unfiltered and put all the bad stuff into this pipe here, which we'll mention now what the name is, and keep all the good stuff in the body in these blue veins. Okay, so let me give some names. So the glomerulus is the name of this little artery blob here. All the arteries coming in to get filtered with the unfiltered blood is called the glomerulus. Okay, that's why I made it red. I'm trying to color code it so it's easy to see. So it's glomerulus is just a bunch of arteries. Small arteries are called capillaries. So for now, I'll say the glomerulus is the small group of capillaries that enter one nephron. Remember, this is only one of the million in one of our kidneys. Okay, now basically what happens is this structure here is called the Bowman's capsule, this one here, okay? It's basically an empty space. And what happens is the blood here is going to get filtered into this space, okay? All the bad stuff and some good stuff. That's why it's going to get complicated. So I'm not going to go into detail, but stuff is filtered into here, and the filtered stuff is passed through here, and by the way, so this is called the Bowman's capsule. Capsule because it's an empty space, okay? It's like a capsule, like a little bottle. And then it passes from this little bottle called the Bowman's capsule into the proximal convoluted tubule called the PCT. So that's a massive name. Proximal because it's the closest. Proximal means closest. It's the closest to the beginning, okay? Now, then we have the loop of Renal because it's like a little loop. And also, it's called proximal convoluted because convoluted means squiggly. So it's both proximal, it's close, and it's squiggly. Whereas the loop of Renal is just smooth, and it's a loop shape, and it's a bit thinner, okay? And then we get to this one, kind of looking the same as this one, but it's far away, so we call it the distal. Distal means far away. So the distal squiggly or convoluted tube, and then finally, all the filtered blood will go into this thing here called the collecting tubule. This collecting tubule, let me show you here, is this part here, this yellow thing. And what happens is, you can see it's connected to this medulla. So all the filtered stuff that comes into it will flow down here into the renal pelvis and finally into the ureter, and then after that to the bladder where it'll get peed out, okay? So that is the basic concept, and that's the basic structure of the kidney that we need to know. I just want to emphasize one last thing here that you may find confusing, because when I saw this, I found it a bit confusing. Like I get this part, it's like a pipe, but what's going on here? So let me show you. So imagine this Bowman's capsule as a balloon, okay? So it's like a balloon, you can see. Here's the balloon, there's the part where you blow it up. So we assume now that this part is open. So normally we tie it closed, right? But for now, for this structure, we're going to assume it's open, so air can pass out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try and show what's happening here. Because you got to imagine it's 3D. So you got to imagine this is actually 3D. So it's not actually open like this. In your body, it's closed, like a balloon. But how does it form this weird shape? So imagine taking your fist and squeezing it into an inflated balloon. It will start folding around your hand, right? Kind of like this. So it'll kind of fold around your hand like this. This is pretty much what's going on here. Your vessels, which is represented now by your hand. So you gotta imagine, like this is the vessels. It's got all the blood in that's not filtered. Kind of is inside this capsule, okay? And now, the only way for this blood that is not filtered yet, so it's dirty, it's got some bad stuff in it, to get filtered is if the blood passes out of your skin. So that's one layer. It's got to pass out of your skin, and then it's got to pass through this green membrane. And then once it's through the green membrane, then it's in this empty space. And after it's in this empty space, then it can flow into the first part. Remember, we call this first part the proximal convoluted tubule, okay? So this is all structure that you need to know. Of course, right now, you're not going to get the function or anything like that yet. I just want to make sure you know the structure and the basic idea of the kidney. If you do, then you're right on track, and next up, I'll make the kidney function video.